Let's get one thing straight. When a narcissist realizes they can't control you anymore, that's when the real war begins. They don't walk away quietly, they escalate. They become a storm of lies, deception, and manipulation aimed at one thing: breaking your mind and your reputation. And here's the part most people miss. Their final move isn't charm, it isn't pleading, it's silent, insidious, and designed to destroy your credibility while pretending to be innocent. They aim for your identity, your confidence, and everything that makes you untouchable. If any of this sounds familiar, pause for a moment and ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to let someone manipulate your life? Protect your boundaries, document the behavior. And most importantly, remember, freedom isn't revenge, it's power. When control slips, they escalate from manipulation to sabotage. Narcissists are experts at control. For them, relationships, friendships, or even professional interactions are arenas where they maintain dominance. Early on, this control often comes subtly through charm, flattery, gaslighting, and manipulation. You might feel confused, overthinking, or constantly trying to get it right to keep peace. This is their preferred stage. Control without visible conflict. It's quiet, almost invisible, and they can maintain it indefinitely as long as you respond predictably. But what happens when you stop responding as expected? When you assert boundaries, refuse to be gaslit, or detach emotionally? That's when their panic begins. Their manipulations, which once subtly guided your behavior, no longer work. And panic in a narcissist looks a lot like escalation. This escalation is what we call sabotage. It's no longer about winning a small argument or getting a compliment. Now, the narcissist moves to destabilize everything around you. They may twist your past mistakes, weaponize your vulnerabilities, or attack your reputation. The goal is to provoke a reaction, any reaction, because that reaction restores their sense of control. It's important to understand the psychology behind this. Escalation is rooted in fear, not strength. They feel powerless when their subtle tactics fail. They see your independence, clarity, and detachment as a threat to their self-image and influence. By escalating, they hope to create chaos around you so that you doubt yourself, second-guess your decisions, or return to a more compliant state. Recognizing this shift is empowering. Once you see that the escalation is a defensive mechanism, a sign that you've broken free from their control, you can respond with calm boundaries instead of reactive emotion. The key is awareness. When you understand their strategy, sabotage loses its power and your stability becomes untouchable. They often weaponize your vulnerabilities against you. One of the most insidious tactics narcissists use when they can no longer control you is exploiting the very things that make you human. Vulnerabilities, your fears, insecurities, past mistakes, or emotional triggers are not weaknesses to them. They are tools. They observe carefully over time, learning what hurts, what provokes, and what causes self-doubt. Once they sense you are detaching or no longer compliant, these vulnerabilities become their weapon. For example, they might subtly remind you of moments when you felt insecure, twist a past mistake into a major flaw, or exaggerate a personal shortcoming in front of others. They might even fabricate stories or manipulate contexts to make it appear as if you are at fault, untrustworthy, or unstable. The goal is simple: to destabilize you emotionally and regain the illusion of control. It's important to understand the psychology behind this move. Narcissists thrive on predictability. When they lose the ability to manipulate your choices or reactions directly, they pivot to targeting the parts of you they know are sensitive. By creating doubt or guilt, they hope you will react, apologize, or adjust your behavior to restore their dominance. This tactic can be devastating because it attacks your identity, self-esteem, and sense of reality. But the key to countering it is awareness. Recognizing that the weaponization of your vulnerabilities is a defensive move rooted in fear, not a reflection of your worth, is crucial. Your past, insecurities, or emotions do not define you. They are simply the points they try to exploit to maintain control. Once you see this for what it is, their attacks lose their power. Calm detachment and clear boundaries neutralize their manipulations, proving that your inner strength cannot be used against you. They may spread false narratives to isolate you socially or professionally. When a narcissist realizes they can no longer control you directly, they often shift to a more strategic, covert form of attack, spreading lies, rumors, or half-truths to manipulate how others see you. This tactic is designed to isolate you, undermine your credibility, and provoke anxiety or self-doubt. By influencing your social or professional environment, they attempt to regain a sense of power indirectly. For instance, in personal relationships, they might whisper stories that exaggerate your flaws, twist your words, or imply you are untrustworthy or disloyal. Among co-workers or professional networks, they could subtly question your competence, reliability, or character to create friction or hesitation toward collaborating with you. The goal is consistent: make you appear unstable or unreliable while positioning themselves as the reasonable or victimized party. The psychology behind this move stems from fear. Narcissists rely on control and validation. When direct manipulation fails, they try to shape the world around you instead. By turning others' perceptions against you, they hope to provoke a reaction, whether guilt, defensiveness, or confrontation, that reestablishes their influence. Recognizing this behavior is essential. It is rarely a reflection of your actual character or actions. It is a tactic rooted in insecurity and desperation. Awareness allows you to separate their lies from reality and respond with composure rather than panic. Maintaining clear boundaries, documenting interactions when necessary, and trusting your own perception of reality are key strategies. In the end, the spread of false narratives is a sign that your autonomy threatens them. And that's exactly what makes it a powerful moment of liberation for you. They attempt to provoke emotional reactions to regain power. When a narcissist senses they can no longer control you, one of their go-to tactics is provocation. They know that your emotional reactions are a source of fuel for them. Anger, frustration, guilt, or panic. Any response validates their perceived power. So, when they can't dominate your choices or behaviors directly, they try to elicit reactions that put them back in control. This provocation can take many forms. They might insult or belittle you, bring up sensitive topics, or deliberately challenge your boundaries. They may act passive-aggressive, use sarcasm, or deploy subtle manipulations designed to make you feel defensive. The goal isn't to resolve a conflict or engage in genuine dialogue. It's to spark a response that feeds their ego, reinforces their authority, and reminds you and themselves that they still matter. The underlying psychology is rooted in fear and insecurity. When direct manipulation fails, a narcissist feels powerless. They panic internally and attempt to regain the upper hand by creating emotional chaos. Provoking you serves a dual purpose. It unsettles you and restores their sense of control, even temporarily. Recognizing this tactic is crucial for maintaining your autonomy. Emotional detachment, clear boundaries, and deliberate restraint in responding remove the power from their provocation. The more neutral and composed you remain, the less fuel they have to manipulate. Ultimately, attempts to provoke emotional reactions are a desperate measure, a sign that they realize they no longer control you. Your ability to respond calmly and intentionally signals that their strategy has failed, which is the most disorienting outcome for them. They may use guilt or shame to pull you back in. When a narcissist senses they are losing control, one of their final tactics is to weaponize your conscience. Guilt and shame become their tools, carefully designed to make you question your decisions, your boundaries, and even your self-worth. They rely on your natural compassion and sense of responsibility to manipulate you into compliance. For example, they might remind you of past sacrifices, exaggerate their struggles, or frame themselves as the victim of your actions. They may imply that you are selfish, uncaring, or abandoning them unjustly. Their goal is not reconciliation or mutual understanding. It is to trigger a reaction that restores their influence over you. By inducing guilt or shame, they hope you will compromise your boundaries, apologize unnecessarily, or return to a pattern of dependency. The psychology behind this tactic is rooted in fear and loss of control. Narcissists thrive when you are predictable and emotionally invested. When you detach or refuse to validate their perspective, guilt becomes a way to manipulate your internal dialogue and coerce you into re-engaging on their terms. Understanding this is critical for maintaining your power. Recognize that guilt or shame directed at you is often disproportionate, manipulative, or unfair. It is a reflection of their insecurity, not a measure of your responsibility or worth. The key to countering this move is awareness, self-compassion, and firm boundaries. By acknowledging your feelings without surrendering to manipulation, you neutralize their attempts to pull you back into their control. When you stop internalizing their tactics, you reclaim your autonomy and prevent their final dirty move from succeeding. They try to rewrite the past to make you doubt your memory. One of the most insidious tactics a narcissist uses when they can no longer control you is rewriting history, a form of manipulation often called gaslighting. When control slips away, they attempt to distort your recollection of events, conversations, or decisions, making you question your memory and your perception of reality. This is not a small tactic. It's designed to destabilize your confidence and make you dependent on their version of the truth. For example, they might insist that you said or did something you clearly didn't, deny promises they made, or reinterpret past interactions to make you appear unreasonable, forgetful, or emotionally unstable. Sometimes they even enlist others in reinforcing their narrative, which makes the distortion feel even more real. Their goal is to provoke self-doubt, so you second-guess your own judgment, feel guilty, or apologize for things that were never your fault. The psychology behind this tactic is fear. Narcissists panic when they realize they can no longer influence your behavior directly. By rewriting the past, they attempt to regain control by making you question yourself. If you doubt your memory, they can still manipulate your present decisions, keeping the illusion of power alive. Awareness is the antidote. When you recognize that attempts to alter your memories are manipulative, you can hold on to your truth without being destabilized. Documenting facts, trusting your perception, and maintaining clear boundaries prevent this tactic from working. Ultimately, attempts to rewrite history are a sign of desperation. They reveal fear more than strategy, and when you remain grounded in your reality, you take the power away from their last-ditch manipulations. They create chaos around your life to destabilize your confidence. When a narcissist can no longer control you directly, they often resort to creating chaos in your environment as a way to regain power. This isn't random, it's a deliberate strategy. They aim to make your life feel unstable, confusing, or overwhelming, hoping that the disruption will weaken your sense of self and push you back toward dependence. Chaos can appear in many forms. They may interfere with your relationships, sowing discord between you and friends or family. They may manipulate professional or social situations to cast doubt on your decisions or competence. Sometimes it's subtle, a rumor, a missed message, or a misrepresented fact. Other times it's overt, direct criticism, provocations, or intentional interference in your plans. The goal is consistent: unsettle your life enough that your confidence falters, giving them the illusion of regained control. Psychologically, this move stems from fear. Narcissists panic when they realize their influence over you is diminishing. By creating external disorder, they hope to provoke an emotional reaction, make you question your choices, or lure you back into their orbit. They are attempting to replace the lost control they once had with disruption that demands your attention. The key to countering this tactic is awareness and detachment. Recognizing that the chaos is manufactured, a reflection of their desperation, not your inadequacy, allows you to maintain composure. By not reacting impulsively and reinforcing your boundaries, you neutralize their attempts to destabilize you. Ultimately, the creation of chaos is a defensive move rooted in fear. When you maintain clarity and control over your own reactions, you demonstrate that their final efforts to manipulate you are powerless, cementing your independence. Their final moves often reveal deep fear and insecurity rather than strength. When a narcissist can no longer control you, their final tactics can feel shocking, aggressive, and destabilizing. But behind all the lies, manipulations, and provocations lies a simple truth. These moves are fueled by fear, not power. They panic because the very thing they depend on, your compliance, attention, or emotional supply, is slipping away. At this stage, they may escalate behaviors you've seen before, such as provoking reactions, spreading false narratives, or weaponizing your vulnerabilities. They may attempt to guilt trip you, shame you, or even create chaos in your personal or professional life. On the surface, these actions might seem calculated or strong, but in reality, they are desperate attempts to maintain an illusion of control. This fear emerges because narcissists are deeply insecure. Their identity and self-worth are built on external validation and dominance. When you detach, assert boundaries, or stop responding to manipulation, it threatens the very foundation of how they perceive themselves. The more composed and self-assured you become, the more frantic and irrational their final moves may appear. Recognizing this is empowering. It reframes the narrative from "they are powerful and I am at their mercy" to "they are insecure, fearful, and reacting to my independence." Awareness allows you to maintain calm, protect your boundaries, and refuse to participate in their chaos. Ultimately, their final tactics are a mirror, reflecting their fear, desperation, and vulnerability. When you remain grounded, detached, and self-assured, you not only survive their last-ditch efforts, you demonstrate that the control they coveted has already slipped irreversibly from their grasp. When a narcissist can no longer control you, everything they do becomes a reflection of fear, not power. Every manipulation, provocation, rumor, or attempt to destabilize your life is rooted in panic. Panic that their influence over you is slipping away. The final dirty moves are not signs of strength. They are desperate acts from someone who realizes that their control is gone and cannot be reclaimed through force or charm. Understanding this truth is liberating. These tactics, weaponizing your vulnerabilities, rewriting the past, provoking emotional reactions, spreading false narratives, or creating chaos, are designed to make you question yourself. But none of it defines your worth. Your empathy, your boundaries, and your clarity are not weaknesses. They are your greatest tools. Awareness transforms their attempts into something powerless. The moment you recognize the fear behind their actions, you stop giving it energy and their manipulations fail. The lesson is clear. Their final moves reveal their insecurity, not your inadequacy. Every provocation they attempt is a mirror of their inner panic. When you respond with calm, clarity, and firm boundaries, you reclaim your autonomy and demonstrate that control is no longer theirs to wield. By standing firm, detaching from drama, and trusting your perception, you protect your peace, assert your independence, and remove the power their chaos once held. What they fear most, your detachment and self-assuredness, becomes your victory. And that is the ultimate truth. The last move they make only confirms what you already know. You are free, and their control is gone forever.